OPPO always has a presence in the mid-range smartphone market. It started off with the F series of smartphones, and last year we did see the F11 series, the F11 and the F11 Pro. But apparently, the whole F series has been replaced and streamlined into the A series of smartphones. So today we have the OPPO A91. This is the company's latest mid-range smartphone that they have to offer. And this smartphone is actually quite okay, but for the price of 999 ringgit, we're going to tell you what to expect from this phone. So for us Malaysians, the OPPO A91 is only available in one variant and in one color. So the one we have here is the 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of internal storage, and it is only available in this lightning black color. And yes, I did not make a mistake in the name, it is called lightning black. So yeah, this lightning black color is still kind of shimmery, as you can see here. It still gives off that reflective light, but it is covered in a high gloss finish, so it tends to get scratched very easily. But luckily OPPO did include a transparent TPU case, so you can still show off the lightning black while still providing enough protection to prevent scratches. And being a mid-range smartphone in the year 2020, OPPO did migrate to use USB Type-C, which is something that I really like. And the display, OPPO opted for a 6.4-inch AMOLED display for the OPPO A91, and the colors, saturation, everything looks amazing. And of course, since it's using an AMOLED display, OPPO also opted for an under-display fingerprint scanner, which I personally don't really prefer, but that's how things go with AMOLED displays nowadays. And there's also a tiny water drop notch at the top of the display here for that selfie camera. So what about the performance of the OPPO A91? So as you know, mid-range smartphones nowadays are very competitive in terms of performance. They are all using the Snapdragon 700 series, and they can all play PUBG Mobile at very high graphical settings or at a very high frame rate. But the OPPO A91, it does come with a MediaTek Helio P70 chipset with 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of internal storage. Unfortunately, the chipset is a little dated. It is more than a year old, and we first used this MediaTek Helio P70 chipset back in the OPPO F11 and F11 Pro, which was released more than a year ago. So yeah, this chipset is really old, and as you can see through the benchmarks right here, the scores aren't particularly that good, but it can still play some games fairly well. And just like the OPPO F11 from last year, this new OPPO A91 still has the efficiency problem because of that MediaTek Helio P70 chipset. And the battery drain, for that 4025 mAh battery, this phone can't even last for 10 hours in our battery life test. So you will have to be thrifty if you want the battery to last throughout the day within just one charge. And as for the charger itself, well, OPPO does have a redeeming point here because they included a 20-watt charger, and it can charge from 15 to 100% in about 65 minutes, so I think that's passable. But what about the cameras on the OPPO A91? Well, it is kind of weird because there are a total of 4 cameras at the back right here, but only 2 of them are usable. So there is the main camera at the top, and then there's also another ultra-wide angle camera. The third and fourth here are sensors, so there's one BW sensor and another depth sensor. So if you don't play with any extra filters or modes, then those 2 extra sensors are just kind of there. And the main 48 megapixel camera can only take pictures in 12 megapixels, so it is doing pixel binning, the 4-in-1 pixel binning by default. And the images look okay, the white balance is slightly off, but for outdoor shots the leaves are over sharpened and kind of jarring to look at, but it does take okay pictures overall. And we also tried night shots, and to be fair, we did shoot indoors because of the whole restricted movement order thing, and the night shot seems kind of noisy. And there's also a new tripod mode right here, so if you enable tripod mode, then it will extend the exposure time to about 40 something seconds. And this tripod night mode, it does do a pretty good job in terms of the overall exposure. However, the ISO is still a bit high, and overall the noise level is still very noticeable. So maybe you can get a better picture if you use the manual mode instead. So conclusion time. Overall, the OPPO A91, I do like this phone because of its thinness and its design. And the cameras are kind of okay, it can be fixed and further improved through firmware updates. However, my biggest problem is going to be the chipset. because the MediaTek Helio P70 chipset is just very dated at this point, and its performance is not going to be good in comparison, and its power efficiency is just abysmal. And for the price of 999 ringgit, I think I can only recommend the OPPO A91 during flash sales or during promotional period, because for the price of 999 ringgit, if you don't get anything extra or at a discounted price, it is just too expensive for me. So yeah, that is all we have to say about the OPPO A91. Do leave your questions down in the comment section below if you have any. We will try to answer them whenever we can because we don't have anything better to do anyway. And we'll see you in the next video.